Okay, welcome Chris Barber to the Biodigital Convergence Transhumanist Report. Man, I'm glad you responded to me, right? Like I'm really excited to have a conversation with the world famous like trucker freedom convoy guy. Like it's awesome, man. Like yeah, you're an inspiration to so many people across the world and thank God for people like yourself that actually decided like, what, we're going to do something about this and take a stand and you didn't just sit back and just do nothing, as they say, right? Like, evil prevails when good men just sit around and keep their mouth shut, right? And
Well,
sometimes, yeah,
appreciate you having me
like
on. No, it's good.
of course, yeah, people like yourself, yeah, you've done a lot. I mean, and what you guys did. I mean, I know you're kind of like at the forefront. You're kind of like the poster boy for the Freedom Convoy for sure. You and Tamara, and yeah, you're a really genuine, I think, authentic person. You're just you, right?
Well,
So
thanks. I commonly, I don't know how we quite became the face of Convoy. That was never something that we wanted to be. I guess we were just, a few blue collar Canadians that just felt the need to stand up and voice our concerns about the way the government was treating people in Canada here. And for some reason, over
yeah,
the course, it wasn't just me that started. It wasn't Tamara. It was a group of different people across the country. And for some reason, we seem to be the face of it right now, which we never asked for, but. I think out of all the people there, they probably picked the two most stubborn people and the people that won't back down. So I think I'm thankful for that, I guess.
yeah, no, I really respect that. That's the type of leadership that they're not really quite sure what to do, right? And now, of course, they're using the system, which is supposed to be there for the good, and some of these people, I really wonder what's going on within their minds because I'll just start off right here. I mean, one of the main things was it's almost like there's one commandment. I love saying this, right? Because it's like thou shalt not question like the C19 injectable holy water. It was basically drink the Kool-Aid, don't ask questions, and out come the mandates, so on and so forth. And then people were losing their jobs, businesses are getting shut down. And it really made me question like why is our government like what is substantiating these claims? Why the overreach? Like why is it becoming something to this degree, right? So that kind of launched my interest because I really don't know, right? Like I'm not a medical doctor, but I certainly didn't like government health officials dictating in that manner. And then, of course, the convoys started to fire up, right? And I started like, wow, like this is incredible. And you started seeing a little bit of the things going on, and all of a sudden, like, yeah, like you and Tamara, like, I'm glad you said that because yeah, you guys kind of have become the face. Of course, there's many other people involved. Like, I
Yes.
get that, I realize that, yeah. But I guess why I'm really interested in you is because the government's really picked on you guys. Like I call it lawfare. Like they've
Yeah.
they've really come at you like in a way that I think is an absolute abomination. Of course, they're using taxpayer dollars, right? Like
To
it's
the
it's
tune
not
of
their own money, right? It's
no.
our money to prosecute you, and that'll lead in. But let's start off with question number one. It's so okay. What inspired you? If you can just summarize that, that's kind of question number one. Like, and you vehemently have opposed like these C19 injection mandates. Like, can you talk about that first? Big question.
Well, as most people know, I trucked throughout the mandates. I didn't stop going. So I was the one of the drivers out here that kept the country going throughout the pandemic. Restaurants were closed, gas stations were closed. Your public facilities like your bathrooms. So we were, using the great outdoors as our bathrooms on the highway. We were standing in drive-through lineups, before and behind passenger vehicles trying to get a cup of coffee in the morning. It was quite humiliating in some aspects, but we were considered essential, and that's what we did. We kept trucking, we kept the goods moving across the country while everybody else hunkered in place.
Yeah,
Frontline workers obviously had their part in this too, and stood up, and it felt like the mandates just kept coming, and the government kept saying, we're gonna release it or relinquish the mandates at a certain point, but they would never get to that point. Of 2 weeks to flatten the curve was two
yeah,
years later.
yeah.
And Saskatchewan here, Scott Moe introduced the COVID vaccine passport on October 1st, 2021, I believe it was. And that was a punch in the face for somebody that's been out here trucking for, the last year and a half or so through the pandemic. It was a punch in the face, and it was evident that control came from the federal government. Jason Kenney and Scott Moe both went to the first minister's meeting in that year, both saying that we were never going to adapt this COVID vaccine passport. And after a meeting with the
Yeah.
federal government, they then changed their tunes immediately after and introduced the vaccine passport. So, how much did they get paid in order to change that mandate is kind of what my thought was.
Yeah.
And the restrictions and the regulations kept coming and coming, and then they were introducing the cross-border mandate for commercial vehicle when it come to the border. Um, and it was Marco Mendicino talking about interprovincial check stops. They weren't going to stop, even though they come back now and say, no, 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 you guys overreacted. We were going to release the mandates. They weren't,
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And at the end of 2021, I was faced with 2 weeks, just about 2 weeks before the mandates took place, and it was I'd been working really hard at my company to keep those big carriers away from my customer list for 20 years, and the government was basically handing them over, to them because I wouldn't be able to cross the border. So I fell to the mandates. I got the vaccine at the end of December in 2021, so I could keep, my livelihood, my business. Like so many millions of Canadians did the exact same thing under
Yeah.
pressure from the government.
Yeah.
And
They did.
then another social media personality messaged me and said, like we need to do something. And I did that video on January 7th, 2022, just saying, this is enough. Like, when are people going to have enough? We need to stand up and shut these trucks off. And then the communication started between a whole pile of different people across the country who'd been planning, some idea themselves. And then all these people came together, just a grassroots organization. Everybody had input into it. And during the course of the next few weeks, we discussed what the best what the best outcome, what we wanted to see, and that was obviously going to our federal government's doorstep and asking to be heard. And so that was the entry for me. Like I said before, I'm not a protester. I'm not an
Yeah.
activist. I'm just a blue collar trucker, and I yelled at the steering wheel for a few years there through the pandemic, and finally
Yeah.
then we could put our voice, you know, to something.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're solid. You're solid in what you say. And like we have really weak leaders too. And one thing that really struck me was the things that I remember, the three main lies, I call them, was that yeah, you get the jab. This is what they used to substantiate the mandates, right? Like the directive to me was, oh, you get the jab, you're not going to get COVID. We all know that that is just a lie. That is an outright bold-faced lie. That did not happen. But originally, I can get the quotes, right? That's what they said. Like it'll produce immunity, it'll prevent transmission, and yeah, you won't get COVID. So that's what they use, and those are the three main ones, which were all lies. I mean, I was recently talking to a pharmacist, and I mean, I said, so what are we on now? Like the 10th one or the 11th one or whatever it is? And they said, oh, it's just ongoing now. Oh, I said, oh, really? It's just ongoing. Okay, so the goalposts are always changing,
Yep.
and to me, the anger, like because to me the proof is there, and like it's like I would say almost the entire leadership in the country just followed suit, the entire world for the most part. And there was a few that spoke out, but I mean, man, did they ever get like
Yep.
gaslit, attacked? I mean, it was just unreal because okay, if you've done your homework, if you've done the science, as you say, follow the science. Okay, well, let's talk about the science, and then that's when you get involved with some other people that's their area of expertise. But I will leave it at that because I'm not a medical doctor, but I've done a lot of looking and research
Yep.
into these things, so I'm very open to all sides of the spectrum of the conversation. And what I saw with government was just a total binary response. It was just all in, no questions allowed, drink the Kool-Aid, don't ask questions. We know what's best, and that is not how a free country should be operating. And to me, the evidence is there now to prove that they were wrong. So
Wrong
it's
and
going to be interesting. Yeah.
but I mean the
Like,
conditioning that went into society over the last, since World
mhm.
War II too, as Canadians, we've become so complacent. I've got
Yes.
family members right now that I don't speak to anymore that are on booster number 9 or 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
Phoned home a little while ago to say, I'm having heart issues, and you know,
It's sad.
open your eyes. I'll just mute my phone there before it keeps ringing away.
Yeah. No, I totally get it, man. It divided families big time.
Oh,
Big
huge.
time. Like,
Yep.
yeah, no worries. Yeah, no, it caused extreme division. Extreme division. Like,
Well, the government's found a really unique way of making Canadians, divided for many generations. And when you look at
mm,
provincial, divide or racial, nationality, anything like that, And then through COVID, that was the opportunity for government to divide our households, and that's exactly what they
Yeah.
did. There's family members right now that will not have Christmas supper anymore because the government told a certain segregation of society that, you know, plague rats don't get vaccinated, and you need to, they're killing your neighbor four doors down, and they're selfish and they're misogynist and they're racist, and
Yeah.
people believe that, and it's just
It,
I
it, yeah.
yeah.
It, the fact that you just said people believe it.
Yeah.
See, that's exactly right. Because the government, I call it the Santa Claus complex. It's sort of like, it's like when you tell a child, you can tell like a young child almost anything and they believe you. Why? Because they trust you.
Hmm.
So I consider it to be the same kind of like parallel, if you will, like with an official. We should be able to trust our officials, but to me, they've shown that you absolutely cannot. You need to check their
Absolutely.
work. We need to check what they did. Okay, you made this claim. You say that, okay, show me your work. And they're like, what are you talking about? It's like half of them don't even know they're just following suit.
Yep.
Just yes men, yes men, and empowered. I call them cattle managers, to be honest. I mean, I hate to put it that way, but people hate it when I say that. But that's exactly what it is. It's sort of like if you
Or
have an agenda. Yeah, I mean, you get the yes men in power. They're easy to control.
yep.
It's not based on truth. To me, it's not based on truth anymore. It's just based on consensus management, is the way I see it. Because a good leader will stand for truth no matter what. They will die on that
100%.
hill. They will stand up for the people. They will look into the companies. Like we have the illusion that that's being done, but it's
Mhm.
not. Like that's my take. But okay, let's go to number two. Like so what was your initial experience with law enforcement as you guys started setting up like peaceful protests in Ottawa? How did the citizens of Ottawa respond just to you guys being there? Like initially, like what
Initially,
was
when I started my leg of the convoy, it was from Medicine Hat to Ottawa. So we established connections with local law enforcement detachments all across the country. So as we
hmm,
were working our way across Canada, I and others were in communication with law enforcement, whether it be, the city
okay,
of Medicine Hat, the city of Swift
yeah,
Current, Moose
we
Jaw,
let them
Greater
know.
China, all the way across. We listened to direction. One instance coming into Winnipeg, into Headingley, Manitoba, the RCMP phoned and said, Headingley parking lot is completely plugged full of supporters, and it's going to be a safety hazard for you people to get in there. And so we just kind of improvised on the way. We abandoned that. We realized that there was about five or seven Hutterite colonies in southern Manitoba that got together and cooked meals, burgers,
Oh
hot
wow,
food. It was amazing. There was a whole food trailer
wow,
right full of food there. And because the RCMP asked us, to be safety conscious there,
yeah,
we aborted that. But the Hutterite colony was so fixed on feeding the convoy, they followed us all the way to Kenora, Ontario, where we stopped for that night. They fed us in a cold, dark parking lot in the sports arena parking lot where they
wow,
staged us for the night. So we followed law enforcement's direction the entire way across. I met an OPP officer by the name of Marty at the West Hawk border crossing, Manitoba, Ontario. And from there, we had OPP, excuse me, OPP guidance and basically supervision the entire way across. Sometimes we had up to three or four officers in the convoy for safety purposes, making sure everybody was safe, and we had literally an escort. So we dealt with
hmm.
law enforcement. I was in uh,
It was
communications with
fine.
OPP in OPS, Ottawa City Police in Ottawa. We met with liaison officers the morning that we arrived. We worked diligent with them. It was only until, Justin Trudeau invoked the Emergencies Act where we've seen a change in the law enforcement there when they essentially pulled the law enforcement officers that we were working so well with, pulled
Yeah,
them back and replaced them with hardcore, thugs, can I say?
yeah, sure. Yeah, like guys that are. It's kind of like government gangster, right? Like it's
Mhm.
just you're here to shut it down.
As
Yeah,
far as any
here's your
bad,
money. Shut it down. Yeah.
I never had any bad reactions with anyone in the downtown core of Ottawa. Like I
Hmm.
understand that people were inconvenienced. I'm not sure if I know of a protest in history where people haven't been inconvenienced. That's just something that comes along with protesting when you choose to live in the nation's capital where they make and regulate the laws. Expect
Yeah.
people to come there to protest government's,
It's your
regulations,
freedom,
laws,
man. Yeah, it's your
basically.
freedom. You're right.
So I did understand the negativity involved with the honking, and I'll do say the horns annoyed me as well too. You were in the downtown core. I think it was the first 3 days before the horn injunction into place, and then the horns quieted down after that. But
Sure.
people were excited to live again, and people were so, excited at the fact that we could all meet again and be cordial and celebrate and just live. That people that emotion got to people, really highly.
Yeah. Well, you're fair too. Like just even the way that you're speaking right now, it's very fair. It's very level-headed, and it's right what you're saying. I mean,
Well,
you're on the right side of things. And to me, it's very
100%.
simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
The only
there's no
the only time you catch me on a bad mode is when I'm trolling the left on social media, as you probably.
hey,
I,
that's allowed, right? Like that's allowed. I mean, it's I call it the digital war zone. And it
oh,
very much is where the battle of ideas are being fought. I would say primarily on X. I mean, Facebook, of
yeah,
course, we're not allowed to see news on Facebook,
no.
which is ridiculous. It's like all this government communist style overreach. Like, come on.
Oh,
Like, it's just an abomination. It's like everyone's going to go to X anyway, and anyone that knows
oh,
it, yeah, it
it's
is
like
just it's
X,
wild.
X
Yeah,
is just it's been vile the last while with the amount of people and the amount of hatred.
yeah.
I could
There's
do
a
a post
lot.
about butterflies and cupcakes, and somebody would still come at me and say, "I hope, go to jail, bring lube because you're gonna need it when Bubba." And I like, what is wrong with your head that you fantasize about somebody else being raped in a prison? Like, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Well, they're trying to. It's like I call that thought darts. It's just they try to instill fear in you. Everything is about, I'll tell you one thing. Like a lot of times when good men do good things, we're going to be attacked.
Oh yeah,
Sometimes, yeah, like bad stuff happens, man. Like because you take the right stand, but in the end, it's like you keep like this is what I personally believe. You don't change because of necessarily the consequences you may face for doing what's right. No,
mhm,
you keep going because it
absolutely.
just increases in my view of things, like I don't know how to word this properly, but it's like you don't. It's all about control tactics, right? They're trying to steer you with fear primarily,
Yeah,
with things that may or may not happen. But to me, the way I view being a man these days is that we need stronger men to take a stand, especially in Canada.
yeah,
There's nothing wrong with being like I call it toxic masculinity, according to the left. It's like the age of the beta male, man. We are living in those days. These guys are destroying this place. I mean, and
100%.
they don't see it. They just they there's a reason these guys are getting into power. I'm kind of veering off here
Yeah.
now, but it's a problem. It's not balanced anymore. Canada is
Mhm.
not a balanced, like I'm going to say, at least it's going way too lefty,
Yeah.
and we're creating huge problems, which they don't even see, and I see clearly, but I don't know. And I mean, yeah, man, I think it's good what you're doing. So like, I'm with you
Well,
to the end, but okay, but let's talk about mainstream media. This is question number three. I'll try and keep on topic. Because originally I don't think you guys got really any coverage from mainstream media, right? Like just how do they portray the Freedom Convoy? I eventually it became all negative, right? Like
yeah.
it's so what was your experience? Like what happened that
Well, we
you
learned through when the Public Emergency Order Commission was held in November of 2022. We learned pretty deeply how much the government wanted to mislead Canadians.
yeah.
Legacy media was used as a tool of propaganda to try and destroy and demonize, defame anyone who stood against government overreach, and we learned
Mhm.
that pretty evident. The messaging from the federal government down to the media, and then other people within the media for messaging guidelines was absolutely horrendous. Legacy
Mhm.
media. We've seen a little bit of a change in the last little while here when you look at how they're persecuting us in the courts right now. I've noticed a couple, the US media was obviously on our side mostly
Mhm.
during Convoy. We got more coverage from Fox News and other big US distributors more than our own Canadian media. But it essentially, at the end of the day, it moved a lot of people away from legacy media TV to online
Yeah,
streaming platforms and your
100%.
indie media personalities. So that was one of the huge things I seen change. People, it was
It's
evident to
true.
people that they've been lied to. Anyone who was in Ottawa seeing exactly what happened on the streets there. It was completely different. 100%.
Yeah. And that's not, again, there's no balance, right? Like if even if you disagree, you should at least have some coverage for the other side of the story. Governments aren't always right. See, and
Yeah.
that's one thing that I really saw in Canada is it's just the arrogance, and it's only going to make it worse for them in the end because there's absolutely no acknowledgement and they know. I think some of them do know now, but if they
Brian
ever, they
Brian
have to double
Peckford,
down.
the Honorable Brian Peckford, who was with us in Ottawa. And for anybody that doesn't know, Brian Peckford, he's the last living signature for the Canadian Bill of Charter of Rights and
That's right.
Human Rights. And Brian summed it up quite well. He said, when you're in government, when you're in the system, and you realize that you've made a mistake as government, you can somehow backtrack on that. You admit maybe you were wrong, and you change your policies, or you move backwards in a sense. But he said it
Yeah.
was astonishing to watch the federal government in this as well as the provincial. Instead of realizing maybe that they overstepped some boundaries or stompled
Hmm.
on some freedoms, they doubled down and they
They
continued
did.
on with that narrative, but even pushing harder.
Yeah.
Standing with Brian in Ottawa was an absolute honor, and for him to see the way his charter was used as a foot mat from the federal government, that hurt him deeply.
100%, man. And I'm glad there's a few people that are willing to put their names out there.
Yeah.
Like, man, it's like it's like no one wants to pay or sacrifice anything. I shouldn't say no one, but very few are willing to make the sacrifice. Like you're watching, it's like watching out for your family, right? I mean, think of it that way. I view. I don't recognize this country anymore, to be honest, Chris. It's
Mhm.
I'm 43, but it's not what it was. And
No.
like I literally feel like we've literally given it away. And it's on this downward spiral of political, I call it political terrorism and destruction, and
Yeah.
it's just chaos,
Yeah.
like to me.
I've never seen a level of anger in society right now.
Mhm.
Like just a level of anger. There's so much hatred
Yeah,
out there
there is
in just the
online.
public.
Yeah,
Driving a truck like I do, you're hauling big equipment on the highway, and it seems like you're making people mad because you're just out there hauling this piece of equipment, but you're doing speed limit, but you're in their way, and they want to do 15 kilometers over the speed limit, and then they get angry with you because they have to pass you. I see that
yeah,
so much.
probably do.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. Yeah, I'm one of those fat. Well, I don't know. I'm probably guilty of that a little bit myself, to be honest. But I mean, no. But when you think about it from the trucker's point of view, because Alberta is just it's just full of the big rigs everywhere, right? And
Yeah.
no, it is what it is. And yeah, you definitely want to like from your perspective too. Yeah,
Yep.
you
Oh
got to
yeah.
do it
And a
safe.
patience level, right? So most drivers out there that have when we're operating this big heavy equipment, I
Yeah.
understand that there's that impatient level out there, or the guys are in a hurry and
Yeah,
they're doing
yeah.
the
Oh,
best.
yeah. I'm not saying it's
But
right,
no,
like
yeah,
yeah, 100% no. I'm not saying that that's I think it's yeah, it's important to keep the road rage down a little bit. That can get way out of control, man. I've seen some weird shit in Montreal. Like, and I've driven across the country actually, not in a big rig like yours, but I've
yeah,
I've done the drives and I know what it's like and it's man, is it ever it's a long haul.
yes,
But okay, so we touched on this a little bit. This is number four, but like I'm going to state this that it's a known scientific fact that the C19 injections didn't produce immunity, prevent infection, or transmission of SARS-CoV-2. That's my statement. Anyone's free to attack me on that for whatever reasons. Just state your evidence, bring your whatever, bring your case. I don't respond to like slur tactics. That doesn't work on me. You have to present a case. You have to show me where I'm wrong. That's all. But I said these were the justifications governments use to mandate the C19. I call it injectable holy water. I think because that's how it's viewed. It's like who like how dare you for questioning these things?
yep,
Drink the Kool-Aid, don't ask questions. How do you feel about the complete lack of government accountability? You kind of touched on that a little bit right now. And transparency seen across the world with what I consider to be failed like C19 mitigation protocols. Some countries, I think, are starting in the US. There's a lot of conversations going on about this. Like at least in Canada, I don't know. You probably know a little bit more than I do, but I know there's doctors like Dr. Makis out there. There's a few of them, right, that are just they're in it to the end. I mean,
yep,
these guys, they are not going to stop. They are done because the governments have tried to destroy their lives, and they're just like,
100%.
yeah, they're not going to stop, and they shouldn't. Like,
I firmly believe that we're on the right side of history, and the more people that
yeah,
decide to take a stand on this,
yeah, I
The
agree.
trouble I have is people have been so heavily conditioned that as soon as the government, I
Yeah.
equivalent it to a dog being chained to a tree, and the government removes the link off that chain every day, and the dog doesn't realize
Yeah.
it's slowly
I
losing
love
more and
that.
more freedom every day. But when
Yeah.
it's too late, it's you're done. You're too late, and we're still at that stage right now where enough people say, "I've had enough." Dr. Mack is unbelievable. Um,
Yeah.
there's been
Yeah.
so many big doctors out there across the country, but as
Yeah.
soon as anyone steps out of the fray, they're
That's right.
canceled. They're shut down. Dr. Francis Christian in Saskatoon, a good friend of mine, spoke out about the fact that he didn't feel that the vaccines were safe and effective and could be causing trouble to children. And he's a pediatric doctor, and he
Yeah.
was fired, removed, and put on early retirement. Now, this is a man that an amazing, amazing gentleman and a true patriot, and he's been through hell the last while.
Yeah, because he raised concerns. He used his expertise and basically said something that the government doesn't agree with, and then
Yep,
all of a sudden you're gone. It, it's it's unbelievable. How do you expect science to go forward, right? If you guys have predetermined that we're right. See, this is where they've gone wrong. It should never have been something the government meant, ever. If
100%.
anything, like I don't think it should have come out at all, but if anything, it should have been at least at the very least just a choice, right? But they made it into like I don't know, like something to me that's just an abomination.
What I think they've done is they've discredited themselves so badly that people
Yeah,
out there, I used to get a flu shot every
yeah,
fall thinking I was
yeah,
doing
I
it for
get it.
my own benefit. And now,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, but I don't
Yeah,
trust what's in the needles anymore, even though, I had been part of the vaccination program for years. I'm compromised
same
immune,
here.
you
Yeah.
know. I don't
I mean,
trust it.
man, I never made sense. Like up until this point, like I just trusted the system, just like
Mhm.
everyone else. But when it came to the COVID thing, it just never didn't. I actually worked through the entire
Yeah,
like quote unquote pandemic myself too, right? But it just it just didn't make any. Even mainstream media was saying, "Well, you got a 99.9% chance of." I remember them saying that. I'm like, "Well, why is everyone so worried about this stuff?" Like
yeah.
it just didn't. It just never made any sense to me, right? Like, and then you're
Make it make
forcing
sense.
people. Yeah, like it. Even what mainstream media said didn't make sense to me.
Yep.
And it's like, anyway. But yeah, no, thanks. I really appreciate the strong comments from you because you're just like well leveled in it too, and
I
you're like a rock. Like that's how I see you. Yeah.
you see some of the
Um.
comments that I receive on a daily
Oh,
basis.
I can imagine, right? I mean, you got to be strong, right? And you know what, man? Like you got good armor. That's good, and that's the right thing. Just
Yep.
to keep soldiering on that way, and don't ever let those words come into your, like I call it, come
Yep.
into the inner being, right? Like, nah, it's
I have a
pure.
motto. I have a motto, Tom. When when somebody is being a real idiot on the other side of things and acting erratically or name calling or that, my motto is to mock, ridicule, and just have fun with them for a little while because it gets under their skin so bad when they're telling me that they hope I die in a plane crash. And I said, well, that's not what your mother said. And I do get in trouble from the
Yeah,
lawyers every now and then for it's like, Chris, you got to quit with the mom jokes on social media. And I'm like, but that's me. I
I get it. Yeah, it's you. You're
Yep.
being yourself. Yeah,
Yep.
because they're hitting you, and I mean to me
Oh,
that's your freedom to choose.
yep.
Um, the way I look at it, if they're gonna like, it's proportional response too. I mean, like some guy's threatening or wants to see you die in an accident. They're typing this out to you, and I mean, you know, yeah, like
And I
like
and I
it's
hit him back with a mum joke. I mean, how do you get underneath these people's skin more other than laughing at them in response? And that is as a guy that's played around on the internet for many years and done the troll thing, I used to have to search for the fight. Now it comes to
oh,
me.
it comes, yeah, it comes to
Kind of
you,
a
right?
win-win for me right now, and I know I shouldn't, and I know, but I and the
And
ones that I know that I fight with repeatedly online, and I know that we're never going to hit a compromise on a conversation, and at some point you have to just say I'm going to have to cut you loose, and then I hit the block button. But I'm always game for a new fight. It seems like.
that's you, right?
Yep.
And I mean, that's your freedom, the way I see it. I mean, the way I look at it, what you write, you have to own it. Whether I agree with it or not, that's a different conversation. But to me, you got
Yep.
to own what you do, and I think you do that. And to me, also, it's I don't know, like see again with the what I call the slur tactics or character assassination or just stupid shit like that.
Mhm.
It's like, you know what, man? The way this is my approach is you don't have to agree with me, but you need to approach me with a logical counter. It's like in a court of law. all right, prove me wrong. It's like, where's your thesis or whatever, right? That's
Yep.
how I look at it. Like, I'm willing to correct my thinking on things if you can convince me through logic and intelligence and not intimidation and just name
Uh,
calling. It's ridiculous.
yep.
Like, okay, yeah, I mean that's like a child in my view, but that's my take on it. But
Yep.
okay, so let's get into number like just the legal action because I've been seeing some of the articles come out in the National Post, but like the actual legal action the government of Canada has taken against you, and they've grouped Tamara with you in this, right, for opposing. I call it the C19. I call it health fascism because that's exactly what it is. It's just drink the Kool-Aid, don't ask questions, and you
Yep.
opposed us, and we don't like you anymore, so we're going to use the system against you
Yep.
when you work to pay for these people to do the things that they're doing. I mean, there's a lot of people that are on your side too, right? And to me, like, there's enough scientific evidence to say that the government should back off and they need to drop this against you, to me, the way I see it. For their own, only going to make it worse for them. That's what
Yeah.
I hope to God, like nothing that, yeah, you don't see any time in jail. Because I think, I don't know. Oh, go ahead. Yeah. Like, what are they actually doing? Like, what's the summary of what they want to do to you, like
Well,
at this
so
point?
we were charged with seven indictable offenses. The offenses range from mischief to obstruction to intimidation, as well as four counseling orders.
Hmm.
Our trial started September 5th, 2023. It is still not finished yet. It's technically finished now. We're awaiting sentencing. We were found guilty of mischief, of course. We were stayed on counseling to mischief. I was guilty on disobeying a court order, and then the rest of the charges were all let go.
Dropped.
Yeah, not guilty. So the sentencing hearings then just took place a few weeks ago in Ottawa. I was lucky enough to attend via virtually, where we had a whole pile of people in the downtown core testify against us for victim impact statements for mischief. Places that we helped out in the downtown core during the protest. The Shepherds of Good Hope was a shelter there for the homeless. Testified against us. I remember countless amount of people taking food donations to the Shepherd during the protest. We fed the homeless. We clothed the whole homeless, and we made the downtown core a lot better place for the time we were there. The crime rate was down 90%. Businesses flourished. Business that had been closed for 2 years now all of a sudden had this huge influx of people, and anyone who kept their doors open did really well financially. But until the
Mhm.
government said, we don't want you to be open anymore because it's making this, we got to make this look worse, government impair, business impact, and all that downstairs. So anybody that said, you know what, my business is doing good, I'm making money right now, the government forced close during the protest. Like I said, our trial started September 5th, 2023. It was 50 days in court, 50 days of courtroom activities. Spent over a third of the year away from home. Traveled to Ottawa seven different times. The
Mhm.
travel expense was absolutely enormous. We had
Yeah.
2 weeks of people testifying against us in court. Some of the things that they said was quite, I never had a bad interaction in the downtown core, and then I've got somebody standing on the stand telling me that, I'm the worst person in the world. And I think to myself, all I did was work with law enforcement for 3 weeks during the protest to try and alleviate the pressures in the downtown core, get the government to have a conversation with us. And now this person that I've never ever seen before is telling the courts how much of a horrible, disgusting person Tamara and Chris is. So I've seen a lot of stuff in the last couple of years to make a guy, quite bitter towards the justice system. I'm not going to lie there.
Oh yeah.
But at the end of the day, too, you realize you're part of it's a political persecution. We know that the Crown's office is run by the Attorney General's Office of Ontario, who runs the Attorney General's office, other than Doug Ford. Who's best friends with Doug Ford? Mark Carney, Justin Trudeau. They all work in cahoots together. And it's one big political
Mhm.
circus, let's call it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're like it's a show, right? Like
Mhm.
it's they want they're looking for blood, if you will. I put it
Yeah.
that way, but.
Vengeance. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about it, it's the hypocrisy of the fault found finding to me is just astounding. It's like they try to find faults with it's just like The Bible talks about taking the plank out of your own eye, right, before you take the speck out of your brother's, right? And it's like the government is so guilty of so many things. It's just absolutely unreal. And what I don't like about our system here is how they're empowered with our tax dollars, right? And they can destroy you financially. And they
Oh,
do. Like
100%. It's
that
cost
should,
the Ontario taxpayers, it's cost them over $10 million to try Tamara and I for the last 2 years. $10 million
there you go.
to find somebody guilty of mischief.
And
I firmly believe this to this day. We have a really good judge. We have a level-headed judge
it's good.
that's listened to both sides. She's questioned defense. She's questioned the crown.
That's how
She
it
was
should
put
be,
in a
you know.
compromising position when it comes to our sentence or our verdict because the crown had spent the last number of years building such a level of case law against us by finding other protesters in the downtown core guilty of mischief. That anyone who
Mhm.
attended Ottawa is basically guilty of the mass mischief. The precedent setting that this goes forward is scary to anyone that is thinking clearly in this country can see what's going on. It was about 4 or 5 months ago. The Crown introduced the forfeiture order on my truck, my livelihood, the truck that I've had since 2003, the truck that I've raised my family in. I've got
Why? Why
three
do they,
small
why can they do that? Like what, like on what grounds can they do that?
proceeds of crime, I guess. They found me guilty on mischief, so they wanted to take the truck and destroy
But
it. It is a symbol of the Freedom Convoy. It has Canada painted on the front of the hood. It is, it's my working truck. It's my livelihood. I said
they,
there's a
they, well, okay, so they said they found you guilty of mischief. Like on what? Like so they have grounds for like they whatever they did. So the judge agreed with that, is what you're saying, or
she basically had to agree because of the level of case law that was presented, against us.
mischief. What
Mischief.
about the government lies in terms of see what one thing I would have said, well what I not that they the thing that I would have liked to have said, what about the government lies, the COVID lies, all the things that they did, like the mischief, and then they
Yeah.
put that on you. Wow. You
Yeah.
wait, it's funny to me, like because I don't know what the belief systems these people have, but there'll be a day when they have to face their hearing, if you will,
Yep.
and the mischief that they placed on you. It'll be interesting to see that kind of conversation with uh to me this was I mean this it, it it was like a weapon against your own citizens, like under
Mm.
the pretext of health and safety. It's the worst kind of thing, and it worked. And it makes me sad because it's like they refuse to look at, you say follow the science. Well, you don't follow the science. You
No.
guys don't follow the science. There's people been calling out the science right from the beginning of this, like very well researched, educated individuals. And yet, because all you ever do is follow the consensus and toe the party line, here we are today. This is why you're here. This is why what's happening, because it isn't about, to me, it's not about truth. Because the root cause of this is beyond like whether they can find one little thing that they think that you did wrong.
Yep.
Wow. Anyway, that's my rant.
Oh,
I'm not
Tom,
happy. This,
I've got
yeah.
stories for days, like the amount of stuff that's happened in the last number of years and the amount of
Well,
overreach that they had. They confiscated my cell phone when they arrested me on February 17th in Ottawa, and they used a warrant. I hope it was a warrant. I don't even know if we checked that. They downloaded 4,200 pages of cell phone evidence off my cell phone, and they researched everything to the T. They found conversations I had with my wife, my kids, my ex-wife, my
yeah.
parents, some with the lawyers for crying out loud. And they released that to the media on a Thursday. All 4,200 pages released to the media on a Thursday of a long weekend, and we couldn't get in to put a seizure or a closure order on that until the Monday. You tell me it wasn't all about just trying to embarrass somebody. They didn't find anything. Like the lawyers looked through that and they said, Chris, like you're a truck driver, so I looked through some of your history on that just to see what your Google searches were and some of your internet browsing stuff was. And you think you might find a couple like, oh boy, he went to that website things. No, no,
Whatever.
you
Yeah.
researched like World War II history and vaccine injuries and like all of my histories on what was there was all, unexpected to him, he thought, and he kind of giggled at it.
And the fact that I'm waiting to see the day when Justin Trudeau and their history. See, like this is my philosophy, and the way that you judge someone, you're going to be judged. And like this is like I can't wait to see the day when the people have done this to you, where their history gets to be shown.
Hundred
All the
percent.
things you looked at. You treat someone like this. See, this is what the problem I have with people today. You think you have the God-given right to do this to certain individuals that stand up and you get away and you have got away with it. You wait till your turn comes.
It'll
Like
come.
your day will come. Yes,
Hmm.
it will. Because you know, I don't look at your life is just as important and valuable as the next. And like there is going to be a day where this past government is going to put to extreme humiliation and shame.
Well,
And I
we'll
mean,
look
that's
at
the
it.
least.
We just got to keep speaking the truth and keep telling our
Yeah.
stories
Oh,
and
it's
making sure people
crazy,
know.
man. It disgusts me. It
Yep.
disgusts me how they've and then they use their like, the Gestapo or whatever, right? Their police force or whatever. I know they're doing their jobs is what they say, but it's like, man, if I was in that kind of line of work and doing this kind of thing, I'd be like, I'm done.
That's
I'm
one of my
done.
messages to law enforcement too. What
Yeah.
is your line in the sand? At
Yeah,
what
I'd be
point will
done.
you
This is
stop?
enough.
We
Yeah.
know a lot of amazing members across this country, and
Yeah,
there's
for
so
sure.
much
Yeah, for
support.
sure.
There's a lot of support within the police organizations towards us right now. I know I've seen it personally. I've had conversations with a
That's
number of
good.
officers,
Yeah.
and it always, like what's that line in your sand when they ask you to do something
Yeah.
and you just have to say no.
You can,
No.
right? It's like that's the beauty of it. You don't have to agree. You
No.
see, well, I'm getting paid. Well, what did the Nazis do, man? Like, think of that. I mean, I know that's an extreme exaggeration, but
But
there
it's
is a parallel.
yeah, it's not an
You're
extreme
not going to
analogy.
be able to stand before
No.
the Almighty and say, "Well, I was just doing my job and getting paid." Oh, okay, okay, yeah,
I,
that's how you
I,
want
I,
to play.
I use that argument every now and then, and I always reference to the 1930s in Germany, and people were like, "Well, yeah, how can you insinuate, COVID mandates are the same as the Holocaust?" Well, the Holocaust didn't start until the late 30s. I'm talking about the indoctrination of society, the segregation
Sure, I
where
get it.
you teach hate on one segregation against the other, exactly the same tactic that the federal government did to the vaccinated versus unvaccinated
That's right. There
in
is a
protocol.
parallel. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
100%. Yep.
Yeah, like because it's fascism. It's government. I don't know. It's government overreach. It's because
Yep.
we made a decision. We're right. You're wrong. And it's like they kicked like the Constitution, like the Charter of Rights and Freedoms
Yep.
out the door. Which I'm glad Peckford's spoken to you about that because that's
Yep.
exactly what they are guilty of so many things, man. It
Absolutely. Yep.
is unbelievable what they're guilty of. You talk about like finding you guilty of this. Oh man, the things that they're guilty of.
How many ethics
Wow.
violations has Trudeau had, or did he
Yeah,
have?
exactly. He's a corporate white collar, like to me, political criminal, like the
Yeah.
worst to me
Trust fund baby.
of 100%. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like what happens when you take like a trust fund kid and then you put him in power?
And he's a
Look what he's
narcissist too.
done. Yeah, everything is about it's about him, right? And his
Yep.
agenda, his crusade that he's been on. And he to me, he is his party has destroyed so much of what there
Mhm.
was here. And he's just it's like he just marches on in his smug
Yep.
arrogance because he's never been held accountable ever for
Well,
anything he does.
he's apparently dating an astronaut now, so that's even better
I
yet.
heard about that, yeah. Or like Katie, what was the Katy Perry thing was? I don't know. There's something said about that online too. I don't know what he's doing, but I mean, man, I can't even understand how a woman would even be interested in someone like that. I
No.
guess
Well, let's
anyway,
be thankful it's a woman that he's actually
yeah,
interested
exactly.
in.
Yeah, we can go there too. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
God knows with him, right?
Yeah.
But okay, so let's go to okay, we did talk a little bit about how this kind of violated the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. I mean, you spoke a little bit about Peckford's comments on that. That's question number six. But oh yeah, let's go to right to seven. Like I've been highlighting the government hypocrisy with all this pro-Pally stuff going on, like all across the country, year after year. So the way I word it is you can protest endlessly for Hamas's Palestine, and you'll get Canadian government endorsement for its independent as a state. Like Carney's doing this, Starmer in the UK is kind of like steering in that direction too. But yet, if you protest against the C19 government mandated injectable holy water, you'll be forcibly shut down and
Yeah.
charged as a criminal, right? I mean, you talk about the hypocrisy of all this, right? And especially too with if you know anything about what's really going on over there with Israel being like a liberal democracy, which is, guess what, guys? That's what Canada is. That's what America is. And it's like if you have no idea what it's like, you talk to some of the Iranians that are under like an Islamic regime in power and you dissent or you protest, you will be killed or tortured. And what they do to the women and men that dissent, especially in Iran. And it's like here you are cheering on people that just celebrated an absolute massacre And then you wonder why, Israel's doing it's actually kind of worked. Like Hamas is really, they'll sacrifice to me as many people as they can, as long as the world turns against Israel. These are my views. People can be free to disagree, but
Hmm.
that's how I see it. And it's worked because it's like the way the internet is today, right? You can just show like a cross section of the suffering, but it's like, again, why did this happen? Well, they had their, like Mossab Hassan Youssef just basically said, like, basically these quote unquote Palestinians had their state, and October 7th happened as a result of that, of them electing, like they elected these Hamas.
Hamas, yeah. Well, who is it that it's
Absolutely,
hard?
yeah, yeah. And Pierre
It's
Poilievre
a
knows about this. He talks
yeah.
about this. I,
It's a,
you
a
know,
terrorist
I,
organization, and
yeah,
I recently attacked by one of the people that we stood with in Ottawa, because I didn't
yeah,
support. I'm not supporting the Palestinians and the genocide that's occurring over there. And
yeah,
I thought to
that's right.
myself,
Yeah,
like I'm a Christian, so
good for
I,
you.
I just said like if if you want to stand in Palestine, then go stand in Palestine. What are you
Yeah,
doing over here throwing smoke canisters into Christian churches over here because a Christian gospel singer from the States is up here promoting, you know,
Christianity. Yeah, 100%.
I
Oh, and I mean the left is in almost complete alignment.
yeah.
Like there's this unholy alliance between communism and this. It's funny, the paradox is unbelievable.
Mhm.
They have no idea. Do you understand like Hamas? Man, there's no rainbow flag flying down in their part of the world, right? You'll
They
be put
they
to
literally
death.
picked the tallest building and tossed gay
They'll throw you
people
off.
off of
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
100%.
like
Yeah,
it's
that's the
kind of
people
like
you're supporting. Yeah,
do you understand what you're supporting? I know,
they
but
don't.
trust me when I say this. Babies are dying on both sides of that war right now. But
Sure.
if you disappear for 100 years and you come back, there's still going to be conflict over in the Middle East. It is a war state. It has always been a war state. Biblically, that's where things were created, and that's where things will end if you believe in the Bible.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a very difficult place for the Israelis too. It's very, I really have a heart for them. I'm with them to the end. It's not that it's like, this is what people do today, right? So
Yeah.
they will take a certain group of individuals. You can do that in any country, and you can depict them as extremely evil people. And again, I'll emphasize you can do that
Yeah.
in any country. You can take a group of people. And they create these hate pieces, right, or these
Mhm.
documentaries why you should hate the Jews, because they focus on a specific story as to why you should hate and want to destroy the entire nation of Israel
Yeah.
because it's a broad stroking, and you could do that to any country. You could do that with the Laurentian elite. Why you should hate Canadians, right? Oh, look at this documentary. It's all based in fact and truth, right? And this is
Yeah.
why you should hate every white man in Canada, right? And then and it works. Like people just buy this stuff. Like you got to understand that every man and woman to me will be accountable for his or her actions. Doesn't matter what umbrella you're under. If I'm a soldier and I'm doing what's wrong, I will be held accountable for that. I don't care what flag you're under, what army you're in. It's just if you do what's right, that's why it's really important to if you're a soldier to to conduct yourself. It's tough, right? Because you're fighting a war, but I mean, and I'm not the one to really call. I talk to a lot of these IDF guys, and when you start having the conversations with some of the people that actually have the skin in the fight, man, it just opens your eyes, right? And some of the just the women involved too.
Yeah.
Man, we have no idea here. No idea.
No.
It's just a country basically full of like I would say virtue signalers and
Well,
hypersensitive people.
yeah, but look at the society that we've raised. Parents are so busy working right now trying to support their families, and taxes are
Yeah, that's
high.
true.
Like we're taxed to death in this country. So parenting, I believe right now parenting is at an all-time low. People they don't have the time to raise their kids properly anymore, and this is the product because of it. Look at society right now,
Sure.
and
Yeah,
yeah, I've been fortunate enough. I raised two amazing children, and I work with my son is 22 right now. He is a business partner with our trucking company. And
that's
that,
cool.
that
That's
kid
good.
6 days a week, he takes Sundays off for video gaming with his girlfriend and having some fun, but he is literally out in the shop working on equipment right now on a Friday afternoon when
Well,
it's
well, good for him, man. That's great. That's great too, and the experience you can get just with driving your trucks too, and just what you
Mhm.
can learn mechanically. Like those are great skills. Like to me, like
Absolutely.
I really encourage people to learn a trade.
Yes.
These are, man, you're not going to be able to replace that with AI at this
No.
point. I mean,
No.
if you know how to do this kind of stuff, get a trade. I mean, you can make some great money
Yep.
because a lot of people just want to sit at a desk and the internet goes down, and they
You're
literally don't know how to do much more. Yeah, that's right. So
this is the part of my job that I hate the most when I come home to a
yeah,
whack load of
the
papers
paperwork.
and this
Yeah,
is I
yeah.
gotta
It's
spend
part
in
of
the
it, right?
office.
It's part of it. It's not to dismiss. I realize there's it's just that I really value a person that can actually do the physical work, like
Yep.
people that know how to build homes and the trades, and there's real value in that. There's real
100%.
value in it's not to dismiss what other people do, but don't dismiss the guy, man, in the blue collar because they're making shit happen in a way that
Absolutely.
you like a lot of people are just completely incapable of doing.
Yep.
And again, I believe in a little bit of learning, a little bit of self-defense, and like legally train and learn how to use a firearm legally. I think those are
Legally.
good skills. Yeah, of course, legally, of course. I'm not like I'm all about, but it's when these people that are against all this stuff try to create laws.
Yep.
I talked to Rod Giltaca on this, the head of the CCFR, and he's been trying to fight back big time against the gun grab, right? Too. That's
Yep.
going on as well. That's a whole other conversation, but it's just unbelievable. They want to make sure they're empowered, right? And that they have
Yep.
their armed guards, mind you, where they're walking around everywhere. And yet you're not allowed to be armed, right?
I live on a farm, and we're 25 miles from the nearest police detachment, and or the game warden or that. So, it's common that I'll look out the window and there's a coyote, trying to attack my
Yeah.
dogs in the yard, or if I go out in the back, there's a raccoon eating one of our young kittens in the barn, or porcupines coming through
Yeah. Fair.
there's a lot of that right now, and so I need a firearm here to remove pests, because of course I'm not going to run out with an axe in my hands to try and knock a coyote over
That would
the head
scare a
when
lot of
he's,
people. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
my outside dogs are getting a little older and they're not quite as fight worthy as they once were. So you have to be in tune to that, and part of the reason you keep your yard safe is with firearms, and that's been the way for,
100%.
since people settled here.
There's nothing wrong with that, man. Like there's absolutely nothing
No.
wrong with that. For me, it's I don't think there's anything wrong going getting your license. I think that's a good
Yep.
thing. I actually think that's a great way of going. And if
Mhm.
as long as you're responsible, like all power to
Yep.
you, man. Like I don't think they should be taking away anything.
Yep.
But okay, so anyway, we'll keep on track. But I love hearing what you have to say, man. I hope yeah, I hope this is going to be fall back hard on the government, and they're going to drop this and leave it be because I don't think it's in their best interest. I think they need to let you be, let you go,
I
and drop all this stuff and let you go
Yeah.
about your life.
It's not going to happen. They've got the axe to grind, and we're October 7th is their sentencing day. Uh,
Are you kidding me?
September 12th is the
Okay.
forfeiture hearing
Yeah.
for Big
Okay.
Red. So we'll find out dates on October 7th for
Good
what our
Lord, October
punishment.
7th. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, I'm
I
sorry, man. Yeah.
imagine of
Yeah. That
all days they pick October 7th.
October
Hey,
7th. Of course it is October 7th. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what, man? I'm gonna pray for your case.
thank you.
Yeah, and I hope that the people that are on our side that have the power to help, and it's not, it's just they'll use their intellect, their legal skills to help you because I think that's the right thing to do in this situation and to push hard. The Canadian government needs to be put in the spotlight for what they're doing here because
Yeah,
this
I
is
think
not
they
right.
are.
This is not acceptable.
No,
It's unacceptable.
We're
Yeah.
seeing more U.S. news outlets right now writing hit pieces on the Canadian government right now
Good.
for what they're
Yeah.
doing, and it's good to see.
Yeah.
I've heard President Trump is monitoring our situation right now in a way
Yeah,
that
he
he's
needs,
one.
yeah, man, that's great. I would love to. I honestly, man, I think he should weigh in on especially what's going on with you and Tamara. Yeah, 100%, man. Like he should watch this closely. I'm not sure how they're going to respond, but I'm sure that yeah, okay, that's good to know that they're looking into this because they should. This should not be happening
No,
here. So, okay, and question number 8. So we're going to wrap up basically where can people find you? I know you're on X, you're on Facebook, and actually, I think anyone that wants their equipment hauled, yeah, you should go to this guy, right? cbtruckingltd.ca, right? That's your website. Like, so,
it is. Yep.
yeah, like use this guy. If you have the power to want your get your stuff hauled, man, I would be supporting this guy and what he does. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
we have CB Trucking is the carrier. We specialize in agriculture hauling, so we tow ag implements, we haul combine sprayers, tractors, with pilot trucks. We've got 5 trucks on the road. We run around the prairies here. I said I was just in Ontario here last week, I believe. I took a combine out to the Kitchener area with Big Red, and driving across the country,
Nice.
it's amazing to see the amount of support we have from people. Every
Oh
stop I
yeah.
stop at, there's people coming up to the truck. My Facebook page, my main Facebook page is Chris Barber, the Big Red Official Facebook page.
Yeah.
Got to be careful what account you're following. I
Yeah, there's
think
some fake ones.
there's a
Yeah.
ton of fake ones out there. If
Scam
it's low
ones. Yeah.
followers on those, then it's obviously a fake report and block, is what I always say. Chris Barber 1975 or Big Red 1975, I believe, on TikTok.
Yeah, I'll put the links to.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
whatever
TikTok.
they
Yeah.
are. I've got a couple accounts. I have a big account, I call it, but I got logged out like last year sometime out of it, and I just can't remember the password. So I just went to one of my other accounts and
Yeah.
fired that up, and I don't
Yeah.
care whether I'm speaking to 100,000 people or 20,000 people, if as long as I'm getting a message out there and hitting the nerves with the trolls. That's kind of
Oh,
my
it's
goal.
good. Yeah. No, it's good, man. No, I'm thankful. You know what? It actually, honestly, yeah, man, I'd like to see someone like you, like in politics. Like it'd be good, right? That they need guys like you. This is what this country needs, and it gives me faith in Canada. If I can, I just don't have a lot of faith in this country anymore, to be honest.
No,
But when I talk to you, yeah, it's good. It's what makes me like love Canada is people like you. I know there's good people here, right? There really are, but
there
it's
is, yeah.
just I just truly believe the country's being destroyed from within, and it's intentional. It's just a shame. We have so much potential here if we have the
I
right
uh
leadership.
I get asked that question a lot, whether I'm going to become political or get involved
Yeah,
in politics. And
yeah,
I am a truck driver. I make a far better critic than I do, a politician. And
yeah.
Tamara, she's got an amazing voice. She's got a really good speaking
She's good
talent
with.
there. And I was talking to her yesterday, and I said that, like, is it time, you could enter the political ring? And she just wanted to get past this trial, and then she'll see where she goes from there. But
Yeah.
I would stand behind Tamara 100% if she ran for
Okay,
political.
good. Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah. No, it's you need the voices. Like this is
Yes.
part of Canada. Like whether they like it or not, like, hey man, there's a large section of Canadians that think the way we do.
Yep.
So, and we're not
100%.
going anywhere. So so yeah, thanks, Chris. I appreciate your time. Thanks for the interview, man. I know
You
you're
betcha.
busy, so yeah, like take care of yourself, man. I'll be
I
following you
will.
too and just keeping an eye and I'll make sure yeah, like some of my contacts hear
Yeah.
this interview. So
Yeah, keep
yeah,
in touch. I'll share it out on my profiles as soon as you send me a link for it,
oh
and
yeah,
we'll
for sure, man. I'll do the
try and
Substack
help you
and
out and get some
yeah, we'll go from there. All
awesome.
right. Well,